additions to the agenda set. We're going to call up Kristen Van Horn from Larson Design, give us a short presentation on the village comprehensive plan that we're just beginning to kick off. Hi, Kristen.
Hi. It's nice to see you guys. Don't worry, I'm not going to give you this whole presentation, but I figured this is the presentation that we gave to the Comprehensive Plan Committee, so it was easy enough to just run through a very similar presentation and bring you guys up to speed. The village was awarded a grant through the Department of State to update their comprehensive plan, so that's what this effort is. So from a team perspective, we have the Department of State. Our consulting team consists of Larson Design Group, and then we have Prospect Hill Consulting, which is out of Buffalo, and they're our MWBE consulting firm. They do a lot of this work across the state for both the DRIs and these comprehensive plans. So they'll be a really great partner for us. This is the Comprehensive Plan Committee. It consists of Lori as your mayor, Peter as the deputy mayor, and then Kate Bartholomew, Marcus Dowd, Brian Esslinger, Joanne Lindstrom, Preston Christensen, Ian Smith, who is with Hobart and William Smith, but he runs the watershed program, so a really important part for the village here with that watershed management plan. And then Jennifer Tanner, who is also runs the housing authority. So just kind of what is a comprehensive plan? That's the local government's blueprint for future growth and development. So this is the plan that when development is occurring within the community should always go back and say, is this in line with our comprehensive plan if a project's coming forward? So it outlines the community's vision, sets goals to achieve that vision, provides policies to guide local land use and development decisions, ensures coordinated and well-planned development, and invites public participation into the community planning process. So we'll have several opportunities for community engagement throughout this that I'll cover in a few minutes. What makes this a little bit different is New York State has developed a smart growth planning effort, which is pretty common across the state, or really the country, it's best practice. And it really just promotes equity, the economy, the environment, and energy and climate, which are all things that you as a community are already focused on and working on. The smart growth planning principles, there are 10 of them, and what these principles will be, what we'll do with these principles is we'll incorporate them throughout the comprehensive plan. So you'll see these principles throughout each chapter and within your goals and strategies. And it's really just really good best practice, things that we should be doing anyway and are really easy to do. And most of it you're already doing, preserving open space and your natural resources. You've already done so much work around your open space, encouraging compact neighborhood design. So we'll really look at your empty lots and how we can encourage some infill development within the community instead of new development in areas that haven't maybe seen development in the past. So the scope of work is dictated by the state for the most part, and again, it follows a typical comprehensive plan, but we'll have a community participation plan that identifies the project team, community engagement, and how we'll communicate with the public. So we've already drafted that. One of the things that we'll do is we'll develop a page right on your guys' website that is dedicated to the comprehensive plan update, and all the information will go just through that website as well out onto your social media and shared from there. So you guys will be able to control what's kind of going out, but also be a depository for all information. So if anyone ever has any questions throughout the process, it'll all be in one place for them to go look for it. We're going to do a community survey. One of the unique things is your existing comprehensive plan is from 2012, and that had a pretty robust survey and some community outreach. And we want to take some of the questions within the 2012 survey and ask them again, just as a checkpoint of where you guys are. And maybe, if the focus in 2012 was we need to invest in our parks, and look at all the investment you guys have made in your parks, where does the community think the next thing should go? Or do they still think parks is a really important priority, so that you guys know, as you're making decisions, that the community really stands behind this. So it'll give you guys a lot of information as well. And then we'll have some stakeholder interviews with various groups throughout the community. So this is our current stakeholder list. It's pretty diverse. We'll talk with tourism. The chamber isn't on this list, but has been added to this list. Veterans organizations, Office of the Aging, our tourism agencies, the school. We also added the medical representatives with the hospital, village business owners, industry reps. We really just want to have a moment to say, what's going on? What are some things we should be aware of from your perspectives, or what are key things that we should make sure the village protects, right? Or how can the village help encourage more business? Those kinds of things. So we'll bring all of that stakeholder feedback back to you guys. Everything we collect, the committee will see, but also we'll make sure that you guys can see it as well. We will review the local and regional plans that are in existence, because we want to make sure that your future plan also aligns with other planning efforts that you have going on. Walk-ins is one of the most unique communities I've had the privilege of working with, in that you took your comprehensive plan and you did it. If you go through the comp plan, there's still really great ideas in there, but you can see where very methodically this project got done, this project got done, this project got done. So we want to give you that next plan for the next 10 years, so that you can go through and say, we're going to do this, 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 and this, and use your comprehensive plan. We don't want it to sit on the shelf. But you have some other plans, your DRI, Strategic Investment Plan, a lot of work and effort and community input went into that. Your LWRP, which is your local waterfront revitalization plan, that's actually, that has teeth. So you can use that plan as law to potentially stop development if it doesn't align with that plan, whereas your comprehensive plan is just a good guide, but it wouldn't stand up in court. Your LWRP plan, however, would stand up in court. So we want to make sure everything we write into your comprehensive plan is aligned with that waterfront revitalization plan. You've already had a lot of great waterfront revitalization occur, but we want to see that continue. And then just making sure things like the countywide comprehensive plan, the Project Seneca plans, and even other municipality plans are thought about and looked at. Because if you guys are all working one way and everyone else is working the other, it's not going to be productive, right? So if there's areas where you can say, hey, we're all working toward this goal, and it's in all of our comprehensive plans, or all of us are against this one big idea, you have that collective bargaining to say, hey, we don't want this in our community. Look, it's in this plan, this plan, this plan, and this plan, right? So it really gives you something to stand on should you need to. Then we're going to develop a community profile. So this will be a standalone document, but will also be incorporated into your comprehensive plan. It'll cover all sorts of things from demographics to development trends, community resources, a ton of information, and we'll use a lot of different data sources from that, including the census. We have a program called Esri Business Analysis that pulls from all sorts of different, basically you have to buy the data, so we have access to that data. And then just local and regional studies. We're going to conduct community visioning workshops. Our target is early June. That might move into May or later in June, depending on what's going on in the community. I was looking at the school calendar today, and it looks like maybe early June starts to get a little bit busy with that end of the year stuff. So we might want to just look one direction or another, but we'll work through when that community visioning can occur. And we'll probably consider doing something in the morning that could catch certain groups, and then something at night as well, just to try and be able to catch as many people as we can in that visioning. And we'll do a lot of hands-on stuff and preferences of put a dot here if you like this, or circle where you think development should or shouldn't occur, right? And we can overlay those together to say, the whole community thinks we should never develop this one area. And then we know that, and we can make a map about that. So if someone picks up your comp plan, they know right from the get-go, they don't want that here, right? So, And then, once it's done, we'll hold one more workshop, whether that's virtual or in person. We'll talk about what that looks like based on need and sort of what the feedback is, but we'll have one more workshop toward the end when the plan is actually drafted to get input on that draft plan. And then we'll finish out, take all that feedback, finish out your plan, and then there'll be a government review. And this will be really your opportunity as the village board to review the plan, give any input. You'll have a formal public hearing, so one additional area where anyone can come and say, hey, we don't like this, or we think this is really great, and you, at that point, can say, we want to make some changes based on that feedback, or we think we've got it covered and we want to adopt it. But that'll also go through the seeker or the environmental review, as well as the comprehensive plan updates go to the county planning review as part of New York State General Municipal Law. So there'll be an opportunity for them to review it, and that also has a public component to it because those meetings are open to the public. So a lot of different opportunities where people can help kind of engage. Then we'll have our final comprehensive plan and that public hearing, as I mentioned. And then just as a side, our team at LDG will help Fred with all of the grant management and reporting that comes with this contract. So we'll make sure you guys stay on track and get all of that reporting done, just as, you know, an extra add-on, because it's easy enough for us to help there. So this is our tentative schedule. It can adjust one way or the other. Your grant contract is through 2027, so from a grant perspective, you've got plenty of time to do this. So if we're finding that it's feeling rushed in one place or another, we can always slow down and take a relook. So there's no commitment, but our goal is to complete all of this by your January, February meeting. So just about a 7-month process. We don't want it to drag on too long just because I think people will lose interest and the committee will lose interest, the community will lose interest. So we want to keep it moving, but there is plenty of wiggle room in our schedule based on your guys' contract with the Department of State. So our next steps are, we're going to create and distribute the online survey. We met this morning to get that going. We also will create some paper copies so that we can distribute those out to people who are not tech savvy and wanting to do the survey online. We use a platform called Survey123, which is pretty user-friendly, and we can develop a QR code so we can get that right out onto social media, onto flyers throughout the community, places like that. But we also will have those hard copies that someone can just turn in, and we'll enter those into the Survey123 so they get counted just the same way. There won't be any, well, the paper copy said this, the online copy said that. The other thing that we're gonna also incorporate into this, because we think it's helpful, and we found this during the GRI, filtering some of the community input, because it can be a lot. We're gonna have one checkbox of, are you a village resident? Because then you have the ability to take that data and say, here's what our residents think, because they're directly impacted by the decisions to spend taxpayer dollars, right? So you might want to weigh that opinion slightly more than someone who doesn't live in the community. But the other part we'll ask is, if they're not a village resident, what's their interest? So we can also gauge, you know, we recognize that Watkins is really the hub of the surrounding area, right? They come to school here, they grocery shop here, the drugstores are here, medicine is here. But that also doesn't mean that they all have to have the same equal opinion, right? That residents feel some of the impacts of the village development different than someone just coming through for their groceries, right? So we want you guys to be able to filter that information, but have everyone's opinion at the same time, right? So we will incorporate that in. We'll begin holding our stakeholder interviews. Those will likely be virtual or in person, some combination. Your project team is based somewhat all over the country. You'll get to meet them all at the community visioning workshop, but there'll always be a virtual option just so the rest of the team can join in. And then begin working on that community profile documentation and setting a date for that first public workshop or our immediate next steps. So with that, any questions? I know I went through that super fast. Happy to go back to anything or follow up with any additional, and I'll get this PowerPoint over to Fred to distribute to all of you so you can fully read it as well.
Yeah, and if any of the board's interested, I have notebooks for the 2012 comprehensive plan. Fascinating to go through, and Kristen mentioned, I was going through and just kind of checking off things that were recommended back then that we've already done. There's still definitely some things that need to be done or ideas to be done. So if you want one of those notebooks, I have some in my office.
And there's some good goals in the 2012 plan that we'll
Yeah.
probably see continue to move forward that have just been good things to work on or have been successful as your goals and objectives, so.
Very good.
Hey, when you do the community member outreach, Kristen, by the way, great presentation. On average, for something like this, how many people do you focus on and talk to just from the community? Like, hey, what do you like about, what do you think is positive? Is it
Yeah,
like
if
50 households, 100?
If we
10,
get
I don't
10, I mean, in a typical comp plan, if you get 10% community participation, you feel like
Yeah,
you've
you're hitting
done
home run. Yeah.
really well.
You did it in the DRI.
Watkins has pretty historically been my experience that they want to give they have a lot of thoughts that they are excited to give their opinions about. But that's also where we want to caution that with social media, anyone can really get their hands on the survey. So we want to caution that we're not just taking a lot of feedback and none of it is from the village residents, right? So when the surveys are coming back, if we see all of it is checked as not a resident, we know that we need to try and find a different way to target the actual village residents. And we also talked about including the flyer in the utility bills with the QR code that they could just scan right from their utility bill when they open it in the mail, to be able to target directly to those impacted by the decisions.
Yeah, we did it in a couple different ways. We did it for the recycling program to get feedback in the paper. It helped because some people, you're right, they're not going to know how to use a QR code.
Some people
They
aren't
don't-
on social media,
Yeah.
right?
they
And
might
that's
not
where,
have a computer.
yeah, with having Jennifer on the committee, you know, she said she could take hard copies to the community room within Jefferson Village or stop over at the middle school apartments and get those distributed to populations that maybe aren't going to go online and take them, and we can just go ahead and enter those in. But typical, if we get 10%, we feel like,
Yeah, so that'd be roughly 80 households. So
yeah,
that's
like
great.
we feel like we
Yeah, I
did
was
good.
just trying to understand the magnitude. Okay.
Yeah, we want as much as we can, and we'll leave it open based on sort of how feedback is coming. So if we see we got no feedback for a week, we'll probably say we've gotten what we're gonna get and close it, or make one last targeted effort, like one big social media blast of like, this is the last week, to try and get someone to say, oh yeah, I did wanna take that survey, and then we'll shut it there. But we can watch sort of the spikes in when people are taking it.
Yeah, we had good participation even with the ADA playground ideas. We did one where we went right to the park where the kids were there, which was fun, just to get kids' ideas. And then we had a later in the day where the parents came. You know, the biggest one was the DRI that, you know, we had 3, as you know, and we had, you know, over 100 people at each of those. So feedback was really important. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what comes back. I mean, I'm glad you're taking some of these questions, and you'll see in this, if you review it, the questions and then the responses and the variation of them. One of the areas that I kind of chuckled about was that pretty consistently people talked about the old wastewater plant because that tank was still there at that in 2012. And a lot of people talked about
Well, the plant was still there.
the plant, yeah.
Yeah, the
not
whole
just
thing
the
was
tank, the
still
whole
there,
plant.
yeah.
And, you know, that's, check it off, it's
Yeah, you
it's
did
done,
it.
so now what's the next step? What do people wanna see there? I mean, that's,
Yeah.
I'm curious about
We
that.
can add a question that just is, what would you like to see at the old wastewater treatment plant? And leave it as an open, just an open question that you can tell some. We wanna make sure we have a combination of yes and no, or like or dislike kind of questions, because some people won't type in an
Yeah.
answer, right? So we wanna be able to prompt them, but also give them the opportunity to just tell us what they're thinking, right? And we can filter out from what they're thinking into keywords for projects. So there'll be a combination of those open-ended, or also just yes and no, or I pick one kind of things.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good exercise, and, you know, the goal really is to get it done by the first of the year, cause like you said, we're gonna lose people, you know, time commitment or not, but, you know, we wanna get it done, and there's lots of other things to prioritize, so.
Any other questions? Hopefully you all have my number, so if you think of anything, give me a call, and I'm happy to walk through any questions you have throughout the entire process. If, you know, if you're hearing rumors or getting feedback, feel free to point people in my direction. Happy to take any of those questions, or navigate them to where they can find this PowerPoint presentation or the next one, you know, things like that.
Yeah, one of the, points that I did forget is that we will have them talk to our department leads, which I think is really important, like, what are they seeing out there?
Yeah.
You know, many of them are sitting out there, so,
Yeah.
you know, it's really important that, you know, they're on the ground, and,
Yep.
I think that piece, and then I encourage the board to go to, when we have the open public ones, to go and listen and give your feedback, because, you know, obviously, Peter and I are on the committee, but, because we can't have three of us, so, you know, participate, it's important.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot, Kristen, I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Got it, yeah.
Thank you.
Do you wanna move
Good,
that?
yeah, I'll move the TV.
Thank you, Kristen. All right, public be heard, see all departments, so we'll move on to approval of the minutes of March 4th, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the regular board meeting held on March 4th, 2025.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried, thank you. Okay, department reports. Stacy, you've got a lot going on. Could we have any more event applications?
I know, it's a lot. And I got another one today, but,
I saw it. Well, we got time on that one.
yeah, we do, so I didn't, okay.
All right, anything you wanna add, Stace?
No, I don't think so.
I am still working with the Canal Corp, on the docks, and, you know, they're very responsive, but I haven't heard anything since last week, so I'll keep on them about that. When do we think the campground will open?
April 18th? Yeah, 18th. Yeah.
Won't be long. Okay, anything else, Stace? Thank you. Scotty? What you got?
We just raised the manhole lids on the streets, on the cater, you'll see all the holes.
I saw that.
Tearing down, ice caving in, we're painting in, so we're working it along.
Is that, ice pretty well melted, or?
Yeah, it's pretty much gone. There's some underneath the coils still. We got half the coils rolled up, so we're halfway there.
Yeah, I know
By
it's
the
gonna
end
get,
of the week, we should have them all rolled up, I'm hoping.
it's gonna get cold again.
Yeah.
All right, anything else, Scott?
No,
Thank you. I checked out that pole, by the way.
yeah.
Nice job. All right, Dennis, I know you're busy, cause, I'm busy right along with you.
Yeah, so I'm reviewing, plans for a new house up on Cedar Street.
Yep, Okay,
So they may be having to open up some walls to see some of the electric that they buried.
yeah, that's a mess. And Terry, you're on board to look at that Cedar Street house, right, the plans?
No, I told him to get an engineer,
You told them what?
to get an engineer.
Oh, you can't do it?
I'm not even gonna advise him on that. Not
Is-
with that kind of a drop, I'm not gonna advise him on, my advice was to get an engineer.
Does that come from the Cedar Street side, or is it up?
No, it's gonna come from up and then all the way down to gas. You're talking probably a 50-foot drop, so I won't advise on it, I won't do anything, I just told him to get an engineer.
Okay. All right, anything else, Dennis?
Just still trying to get things done for cloud commit, so we can get that system up and running. It's, between everything else going on, kind of back and forth, on things, and then dealing with issues that come up during the week or day.
Yeah, the one I've been helping with has been kind of interesting.
Yeah,
I'm spending more time at the county clerk's office. You learn a lot.
yeah, I didn't know a few things about that, especially about the right-of-way issue with that property. And over on, that's on McGee Point, correct? And,
Yeah, I'll fill you in on that.
yeah, I've been meaning to talk to you, but we just haven't crossed paths yet.
Okay.
Does your software program, is that what you're talking about? You're still waiting on a permit for that, or are you using that?
No, there's some documentation and information I've got to get to him, or to the person that's setting it up. It's just been difficult with everything else going on to find time to get to all that
Gotcha.
stuff.
Yeah, people building.
Most of the permitting side of it is almost ready to go. The part that's not close to going anywhere yet is all the property maintenance, order remedies, violations, and things like that, things that affect our local laws and our zoning laws.
Okay. All right, now that's good. Terry, you got your sludge moving again? Good. How about you, Ethan?
Nothing, just prepping for the busy summer and all the weekend events that are gonna be here before we know it.
You got Christian started?
Yep.
All right, I'll take a motion, please, to accept all department reports.
I'll make a motion, excuse me, I'll make a motion to accept all, reports.
I'll second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed, carried, thank you. We have a long list of voting items, so we're gonna get right to it. First is the communication network and service agreement. Thank you, Stacy. This has been a long, haul trying to get, and Chantal, if you helped. So this is for the park.
I'll make a motion to approve the communications network and service agreement from Spectrum Northeast LLC for cable and internet services in the Peace Memorial Park campground.
Further discussion? I know Stephen had some questions, and, I think,
Well, Stacy's done a great job, but it's disappointing that we have absolutely no wiggle room as a municipality.
yep,
When
we
you're
tried.
sitting there working with private business, I almost think from a board perspective, we should write something to Spectrum. Not saying they'll do anything, but it's just an unfair circumstances in
Yeah.
the business world that they're saying, we aren't gonna offer you 1 year, we aren't gonna offer you 3 years.
Yeah.
You have to sign on for 5 years and take it or leave it.
Yeah, yeah, we,
That's not right.
I know, we looked at all options.
She's in a corner, she's backed into a corner.
Yeah.
Just, I think we should,
Yeah, well, they advertise all the time about how they work with the community and,
I'm happy to write a letter.
It's not like
We
you wanna
can
give
send
us
it
more
to
work to do, but I
someone
still
that's
think
higher
it's
up
right.
than the woman I've been speaking with, too,
Yeah.
so.
Just unfortunate.
Person.
Wouldn't hurt to write a letter, I mean, you know,
Just,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
said enough, just very
No, I know,
frustrating.
it is frustrating, we pushed, but it's like working with Empire, they wanted to put in, what, 25 poles in that little spot?
Yeah.
There was no way we were gonna do that. All right, all in favor?
Alright,
No opposed, carried, thank you. Next is the first of a few events, this one's at Lafayette Park, this is the one that we tabled last meeting. Take a motion, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the special event application and application for Lafayette Park rental by Michael Samori of Willow Running USA for a Run to Remember 5K on May 24th, 2025, from 7 a.m. to 10:30.
Second.
Okay, discussion. This was the one that we weren't sure, we couldn't tell, Stace, if they were paying or not paying,
Oh,
because it
He
had,
has to pay to use the park, so yeah, there's a separate application for that, so you put a deposit down and then he has to pay for the rental of Lafayette.
okay, and then the other concern we had, that, remember
With the
last year?
vehicle on there, so I did talk to him about
With the
their
vehicle.
money, and he said that he did not need the park within the park, so he said he would.
He said he didn't?
He didn't need to, so he would keep the vehicles out of the
Oh,
park.
okay. Yeah, so we're gonna be putting new grass in there, so I don't want anybody driving in there after, I mean, they seeded it last year and it didn't take, and it's kind of a hard area by the bathrooms anyways, cause it doesn't really get any sun, but we can't have vehicles parking in there. Did the board have other concerns from last
Yeah,
time?
did we discuss, that they do not need law enforcement support, right?
No, they didn't last year.
It's
It
just,
wasn't that many people that even.
yeah, it's not, it's like the turkey traffic.
Yeah. Yeah, and you don't remember any issues last year from,
Was that on Village Christmas?
Yeah,
No.
that's that one.
No, I mean, there was just a handful of people I saw doing it, but.
yeah. All right.
so we are charging, they are gonna be
Yes.
charged.
Yeah, I couldn't figure it out by I saw where you had the deposit.
Yeah, cause he checked that we got the deposit, that's what we've gotten so far, so he'll have to pay the rent.
Stacy, what is the check?
What's that?
What is the check?
It's only $50.
$50, yeah.
quite well, they have.
Okay. And the only reason I asked about law enforcement and having our guys, if they have to get involved with like, hey, we gotta watch this corner and stuff, it's like, they should be compensated for
More
their
resources.
budgetary line item, so, that's all.
Yeah, and they answered that question on the application is no, but my recollection last year was small. All right, all in favor?
Alright,
No opposed, carried, thank you. All right, next, Porch Fest, Watkins Glen. Need a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve the special event application by Tom Bloodgood for Porch Fest Watkins Glen on July 27th, 2025, from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m.
I'll second it.
Discussion.
Yeah,
Okay,
so I think I had a similar list as you, Lori, it's like, but then I got reading again, and I don't think he's asked, well, he did ask us in his letter, but I don't,
he wants to sell alcohol, so do we know
Yeah.
what that means? I mean, in the letter, it sounds like he's trying to get a business to come.
Yeah,
more
I
like
kind of
we're,
assumed there would
he's
be
doing
questions on this
festival.
when we go back to it.
Yeah, it's more of,
Yeah, we need
This
to
is
table that.
not,
it's not a, like.
this isn't like Morty or for Verna Francis.
Oh, Vera's,
Vera,
Oh, yeah.
this is more like it's turning into a more of a festival feeling.
And we've gotta pick up the garbage.
no,
It says that in.
He's
he's
asking.
asking,
It- There's
Well, I
a
know,
letter,
but I'm just
so,
saying.
yeah.
and porta potties.
And
And
board.
provide point of contact.
Oh, he wants the village to pay for that?
It's his party, he's gonna take care of all of it.
Pretty sure Tom came here last.
I know they do that down in Binghamton.
Yeah,
I think it's great, they did it before, right? I just think it's great.
It's a cool
sort of
idea.
Seems like, are they marketing this to Stace by chance, do you know?
I don't know, we just received
figure maybe there's, I don't know, 20 houses in the entire block out there.
Two blocks,
Two
goes
blocks,
around
is
the
it two
corner.
blocks?
It's an
Right, so
L.
you're looking at roughly what? 60, 80 people per household, or for that total household count, then you put in a rhythm of another 160 people coming, and you say, on average, there's 2 people per car, now there's 80 cars, where it just, I don't know, it's got a feeling of like, is there advertising for this? Is it turning into a festival? He says he's gonna have food vendors and,
Well, that's a whole nother
Right, trucks.
piece. I think my recommendation, depending on what the board thinks, is we should table it.
yeah.
Have Tom come to the meeting to talk about this, because there's an open container. I mean, we'd have to waive the open container to have those streets set up the way this is written. And the other thing is that, if someone's just on their porch and having a beer, that's not our business. But what this sounds like, is they want the streets closed, and,
Walk down the street.
right, and so everybody's gonna be, partying in the street, which is a different approval. And then if they're selling, that's even,
Yeah, but I mean, if you have a regular block party, people are doing that anyway, right?
right, but we would have to waive the,
Agreed, it just has an aura, the way this is all written, that it's more like, it's not just the houses, it's like, hey, we don't care where you're from, come on in.
I think so too.
yeah, so
Yeah,
I,
I think Tom should come in and
What's that?
present to
And he
us.
It's not a
did
problem
come.
with it, just,
was it 2
Yeah.
years?
I'm pretty sure it was Tom that came in, at the time that he came in, he just was asking, he wanted the board's opinion on, because he really wanted to set up a porch fest, and then
Yep.
he had asked about it, and you guys had given him some
Couple
feedback,
of
and
guys
we
playing
never heard
on
from
their
him again.
porches
Right.
or something.
But he did want to start that and have it an annual thing.
Yeah,
So I'll email them and just kind of ask them to come to the next meeting, they'll bullet point some of the things to consider before it comes.
yeah.
Sounds good.
so, here, I think we should just table,
Make a motion to,
table it.
make a motion to table the, special event Porch Fest at Watkins Glen.
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carried. All right, next, Easter egg hunt.
Make a motion to approve a special event application by Stacy Parrish for Easter egg hunt on April 19th, 2025, 8 AM setup, 11 AM event done, or 11 AM event start, and then done by 1 PM.
Second.
Okay, discussion. One thing I would like to propose to the board on this, because this is a community event that our park superintendent is initiating and leading, and any of the board members would like to come and help, it's really fun, I did it. That we don't charge our staff member to use the park for doing a community event. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So normally, if someone's using the park, we do, but this is a community event that Stacy, and she gets all the volunteers, and bring your rake, that's the only thing I would say. That's not so much fun. Bring your rake, because you're gonna rake up all the straw.
afterwards, yeah.
Although we could use it over the the
New
grass.
tractor down.
What's that?
Bring the new tractor down, put a rake on the back of it.
Yeah, so I would, that's,
That was the question, and they are,
Well, if they've got no grass in there, they leave it there.
and it didn't
Well, that's
sound
what-
like by the email they were gonna have it seeded. They said they were gonna start prepping that in April.
mhm,
Yeah, it's
Can't
probably
really see it, it's gonna freeze, so.
yeah.
April, May.
So if the board agrees, Stephen, you would have to revise your, or you can just revise it, and then we will vote on it, and the board can vote however they see fit.
Okay, so this is not through the park, is what you're saying?
It's a,
Yep, okay.
normally,
Community event.
if
I
it's
make a motion to approve a special event application by Stacy Parrish for the Easter egg hunt on April 19th, 2025. 8 AM setup, 11 AM event start, done by 1 PM, and no charge for the event, for the community event.
I'll second it.
all right, further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed, thank you, that's carried. Thanks, Stace, for doing that. Put me down to help. Another special event application for the hair pricks, hair pricks.
I make a motion to approve the special event application by Ian Conboy for Hair Pre on September 27, 2025. 6 AM start up, 9 AM event, done by 12 PM.
Second.
Discussion.
I don't,
What is, this is a.
It's,
Shoot, man.
it's the end of September, so this will benefit the Gorgeous Givers, which is the local nonprofit that's raising funds for women in Schuyler County who have cancer. There's been some questions going back and forth. Talked to Ethan. We're a little confused on the route that they want. I did meet with him, and I try to get him to change it so they don't come down and cross onto Franklin or have to cross at the Four Corners and then go down to Fourth, because you can't really plan when all the runners or walkers are coming, so it's like, how do we staff it? So I told Ian today that we would have a meeting, so that we can figure out, he's open to changing the route, but I just think we gotta talk to him. And then the other question I had is that I think he's also gotta seek county approval, cause he's gonna end up in the park, at the Seneca Harbor Park, which is not our jurisdiction, so he'll have to do which is on the side, but.
is he still asking, or,
Franklin
I
Street
guess,
or Fourth Street?
sounds like we're gonna table this because
Well,
we're not,
nobody
we're not
had,
really high on shutting the streets down.
yeah, he's not asking us to shut the streets down.
It says Franklin Street.
Well,
He's
I
gonna
think
change that, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
he would put, he wanted, I think, cones to guide, but still, they gotta cross the road. I mean, that part, I don't know how he's gonna do it, because they're gonna come down 409. So, we can table it, it's fine, because we've got time, it's not till September. But every other department signed off on it, except for,
And Jason had some questions too about the road as well.
who did?
Jason Hudson.
Yeah, I didn't know if that, I wasn't sure why he was.
I don't know, he was asking me about the route too, and if they were gonna cut down Franklin Street when they came off Steuben, or if they were gonna go down.
Maybe in case of fire, so if you have an alternate route or
Oh,
something.
maybe. Okay.
Yeah, I'm only asking we table because this is written,
Right. Just to figure out.
and
what-
you said you're meeting with him to understand the
Yeah, I
changes,
just
right?
communicated with him this afternoon and told him he's gotta come talk to Ethan and,
Yeah, I think just a brief meeting to hash out a few basic questions and answers would be successful.
It's good until we figure out the route.
And then the alcohol portion is not a concern of ours because they already have
Yeah,
that down there, but that's the county, if they're gonna be outside of it, so.
yeah, it's under his SLA license too, so. Okay, so Peter, you made the motion, so you can, request to table that.
Okay, so I make a motion to, a request to table this special event application for the Hair Pre on September 27th.
Yeah, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No
Where'd they come up
opposed?
with that name?
Carried. Well, 'cause it's the Lucky
Lucky
Hair,
Hair.
Lucky Hair sponsoring it.
South Kennedy.
All right, next is a Village Hall application for mobile cardiac monitoring and that.
I make a motion to approve the member application for use of the Village Fire Hall by Jason Hudson for the mobile cardiac monitoring event on March 18th and 19th from 8 to 5.
Second.
Discussion.
Today and tomorrow,
I thought it was only one day.
What happened, you know?
Somebody else had the paperwork that's in Florida.
Oh, okay.
That's how that works.
That's like, this is a.
That's what I was understanding.
Somebody else had to what?
The paperwork, and they're in Florida.
All right.
To him.
No, that's for the dog thing.
Oh, that's,
That's the next thing.
That's the next thing.
Yeah, this is another one of those, oh, they lost their location, so I need you to have it at the fire hall. Calls that we got on the weekend, right?
Yep.
well, this is one, and then, so this one is.
All right, any other questions from the board? All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed? Carried. Again, I would prefer not to have these last minute, drop it on the board requests. For the
Yeah,
rec-
cause
for the
they even
record.
had a flyer made up, so I was wondering why this is
I saw that.
Cause they what?
coming
What'd
to
you
us.
say,
They have
Steve?
a
There's a
flyer
flyer.
made up, so they had this well
No,
in
in
advance.
advance.
Yeah.
Maybe something, I think it was somebody had paperwork or something.
All right, next, member application for the use of the fire hall.
Make a motion to approve the member application for use of Village Fire Hall by Eugene Verboni for a birthday party April 6th from 11 to 3 p.m.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed? Carried, thank you. Next up,
I make a motion to approve, I'm falling asleep. A member application for use of the Village Fire Hall by Judith Ziegler for dog training classes every Wednesday from April 9th through May 14th from 6 to 8 p.m.
discussion.
So, we've had many discussions on this, and we talked, I thought before that we sent them down to the community center last time, I thought.
We did, and they contacted Stacy, and she never heard back, correct, Stace?
Yeah, emailed them, and then they said, you know, the fees, schedule and that, and then they said, okay, thank you, and then that's it.
And the fee schedule was only $50 because
It's
it's a
$50
course.
for an hour and a
event.
half
Yep.
class.
Yeah, the way this works, which I believe we told them no after the last time, that they needed to move it. That was my recollection. Does that, everybody remember the same thing?
Hmm.
Yeah.
That what happens is that Judy, you know, she's a nice person, great opportunity for people with dogs, but then they donate money, and so they're using our facility. They donate funds to the fire company, which doesn't help the fire department budget because we're the ones responsible for the maintenance of the building and et cetera. So
If we tell them they have to have it at the community center and they can use some of the funds to donate it to the fire department, because we're advocating to them to do fundraisers more. Is there a difference if they put it in the fire company or to the fire department?
building is ours, so it would be up to the board to, one, allow what goes on in there, and two, we don't have a fee schedule because we don't allow for charged events.
I'm not talking, I'm just
Yeah.
saying, if they donated the money, is there an allocation of the fire department, which would then go into the budget, or the fire company, which is separate?
Well, so if they donate, it goes to the company because the village can't. However, the village can charge for a facility, you see the difference?
Yeah, nothing.
But we don't, I don't know that we really talked about it this board, but past boards have said absolutely not, that we're not gonna like start a fee schedule then for the fire department because we've had too many events down there that have increased our,
So why do they wanna have it at the fire department building and not at the community center? Does anybody know?
They didn't respond.
they never responded.
I'm assuming cost, maybe? Maybe it wasn't.
Oh, because they had, yeah, okay.
Well, it's only $50.
Yeah.
I mean, $50 a
Stace, what are they doing there, 3 or 4
Session.
meetings, sessions?
6. Isn't it 6?
6?
That's when I called him yesterday, he said there were 6. He
It's
said there was 6
$300.
weeks.
I mean, right now ours is
6,
That's what he told me.
it's 1 month.
They always did it in the community center. In the past.
I mean, we just set up a class and like that class fee schedule with recent rates, so to my understanding, it's per class, correct?
Yeah, so it's $300.
Maybe they want more profit.
They give the fire department, fire company more than $300.
Okay.
So they can do it there, they can still donate it to the fire company.
Right, they would just be doing it
It's
down
still a
plus.
fundraising fund, but we're not doing it in the fire department.
Well, that's up to vote. Anybody else have any questions so we can move on? All right, all in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
Aye. That was not carried. Thank you, good discussion. They could advise them that they can work with Stacy. All right, another member application for a family reunion.
Make a motion to approve the member application for use of Village Fire Hall by Ashley Emery for a family reunion, August 2nd from 11 to 6.
Discussion.
Are we setting a precedent here? Or is this, I mean, is this normal, you know, or allowed for family reunions?
So
As long as they're members.
As long as they're
we-
members.
the
Oh,
board-
they're member, okay,
Mhm.
all right, okay.
Okay, so, Ashley,
Oh, yeah, he's got his list I just printed.
so Aaron, is that her husband, brother?
Aaron Emery.
Ashley, well, it's for Ashley.
I don't know the answer to that question.
Ashley Jean. I don't
Her
have,
copy said might be on.
she's not really a member, is she?
Is there an Emery on the list?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's Aaron. He's one of them.
So
He's a director.
He's a director. Let's see what it says, 'cause they have to sign it as a member. Can't find it. Do it this
Okay,
way.
so she's got,
Why does this keep doing this?
so member,
So
member
Ashley signed.
signature, Ashley Emery, it says. But I don't have her as a member.
I'm assuming she's related somehow to the Emery you have on there, but
I was thinking so too.
So
That's
there's,
why-
it says Jane, is there any Jane's on the list? Cause it says Jane family reunion too.
She might have had a different name on there because they just recently got married this fall.
Yeah,
Aaron?
look for Jane.
If it's his wife, I think it's his wife.
That's what I think.
So she might have not changed it on the, like the list, her last name to Emery now, by the different, because they
Oh.
just got married in the fall.
I see, okay, so is there,
do you have an Ashley Jane on there?
Yep.
there's an Ashley Jane.
Yeah, that's her.
Okay,
Her
wait, so
email
yeah.
is still Ashley Jane.
It says
Okay.
the Jane family reunion further down.
Okay,
Okay.
we gotta figure it out.
Good thing I gave you that list today.
It's good, you know what, that's great.
All right, all in favor?
Right?
No opposed, carried. All right, next up is the approval for Sergeant Mosier's phone allowance.
I make a motion to approve the $30 a month phone allowance strip end for Sergeant Ethan Mosier.
I'll second it.
Discussion.
What are we doing?
So, Ethan and I had a conversation, your review, that all department heads get a $30 a month allowance. for their
All department heads?
Heads for their cell phone, because they use their personal cell phone. And he did not. I do have to do a agreement to add it to the, because he's under the union, but I told him I would bring it to the board, because he's the only one that doesn't have it. So that's what it is.
Is this
Got
enough?
it.
What, Stephen?
Is this enough? The
Well-
stipend for him using his phone?
Well, we all use our
24/7.
phones. I have a counter argument to that, but,
I have the village phone.
what?
So I have the village phone.
That's the other, so that's the alternative, is that they can have a village phone.
Well, they phased
Get
that
the-
out, I mean, the village phased that out, that's the history of it, so they got rid of getting phones for everybody and started giving the state.
Because Terry, Terry,
Yeah, because
Terry carries two phones.
well, I'll
So does
carry
Megan.
two phones, because I won't get my personal phone out.
All right, moving along, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
Stephen, did you vote?
Aye.
All right, we have three of us, so you did confirm, right, Steve? On
Yes,
NICOM? Just to make sure.
Steve is booked to go, so.
Yeah, I thought the email that you sent was confirming that.
Yeah, it was,
It was for something else, so.
well,
Yes.
we got two things going at once, so I need a motion. This is for the NICOM conference.
I make a motion to approve attendance to the New York State Conference of Mayors and Municipal Officials Annual Meeting, May 28th through May 30th, for Mayor Laura Gennaro, Deputy Mayor Peter G. Surratt, and Trustee Stephen Coon.
Second.
Questions, comments?
Looking forward to it.
Peter went last year.
It's a good one.
Margaret's not.
I got this like amazing, I won this amazing basket of stuff.
Well,
She bribed the guy, she gave him like $100.
Yeah.
all right, all in favor?
Aye.
No opposed, it's carried. It always feels awkward to vote on something when it's yours.
Good
Okay.
conference.
L is the approval for Patty Skimmets to be extended as the housing authority.
I'll make a motion to extend Patty Skimmett's 5-year for the housing
Renewal.
extension renewal for the housing authority.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No opposed, carried, thank you. Next, we've got the fire department underground pipe company, cleaning, jetting, liner installation.
Make a motion, I make a motion to approve the estimate by Underground Pipe Company for the cleaning, jetting, flushing, and liner installation for fire department sewer line. Total cost $24,900.
Second.
Discussion. Terry, do you think that's a good price?
I honestly, I don't have to.
That, my concern with this is where they're getting the money from, because we're at the end of our fiscal year. We'll run a report tomorrow, so I know exactly where they're at. I looked at it today, but my report's a month behind, so
What is it, what do you think? I'm looking at your
They-
report, if it's a month behind, if they don't have the money or they do, no. So then it would be taken out of the, what is it?
I mean, they can wait and we can budget for the new year, which would be June, but I think the question that I would have is to go back and say, where are they gonna get the funds for it? When I looked just now, they had about 15,000 left in their current budget.
Wasn't this something we discussed had to
Yeah, we
be doing?
told them to go get 3 quotes.
Well, this has been going on for how many months?
Yeah, since
Well,
last,
yeah, that one quote was back October.
not, yeah, it's been like last spring.
And they did verify that the quotes are still accurate and did do that, but,
And they're probably not gonna get any cheaper, I mean.
No.
yeah, my concern is that they've been waiting for so long, I'm not sure why. We've got a big event coming up down there.
Well, there was a misunderstanding as that the quotes were turned in and they weren't. So that's why we had to get new ones.
Yeah, what happened was that they came in with quotes, the first time they came in with 3 quotes, it was like, one was
Oh,
for
one was really
full
outdated.
construction, tearing it up, everything.
Oh, yeah.
Like 2 were for the jetter, and you guys told them, give us 3 quotes for full construction, repairing, replacing, and full for the line. So then they did that, but then it got delayed because they hadn't gotten anything in, and then.
We never saw it after that.
Right.
Well, you guys got on them, and then they finally turned in just one recently. And that was the lowest, the next one was 7,000 higher, and the other one was 10 grand higher.
And then the one was huge for tearing it all up.
Yeah,
But that was the first go around.
yeah, that was his initial go around, yeah.
Yeah,
They don't have
I
the
don't
money to
recall
flush it.
seeing
They're not
anything
gonna have the
since.
money
This
to
is the
work it
first
out.
time we've seen actually a price, because I think they had Robbie
Well,
driving.
Peter went after it. So,
Rob's the
exactly what they have. So
So let's say they don't have the money to cover it, then what's, like, what are next steps?
they have to wait and budget for it for next fiscal year.
Oh,
Is this guaranteed fixed problem?
Well, that's a good
I mean,
question.
if there's a sag in the pipe, and I'm not saying there is, if there's a sag in the pipe and you line it, it's not gonna fix the problem.
Right.
So then you're gonna be coming back to do the full-blown cut gig and, so I mean, is it throwing good money after that?
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Well, they said
Jerry,
that
do
they
you know-
had,
We talked about this.
they did the camera
They
thing
ran a
through,
camera through.
and it's supposedly that's all it is just the whole pipe is collapsing down. The, what is it? It's a
It's cast iron.
cast iron pipe and it's flaking off and catching.
Which, yeah, cast iron is gonna flake off.
That's what it's doing.
But if they ran a camera down it, without seeing the camera or seeing the actual video of it, because if that pipe goes underwater, if the camera goes underwater, there's a sag in the pipe.
Right.
If there's a sag in the pipe, you've got a low area now that solids are gonna build up and flood the pipe up.
I was just thinking the same thing.
So I
Is
mean,
it-
I don't
mean,
remember
you're
him
gonna-
saying anything about anything about it being plugged.
I thought that was the one that had a picture of it.
Is it under the floor?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it is,
right.
they ran,
Right through the middle. of
Is
they
it
buried it through the concrete, all the way under the floor, all the way up to this.
Where it should have gone out the other street, it came out right through there.
I mean, why cast iron, I don't know. I mean, that's way before my time. It should have been SDR 35, even under the concrete. You wouldn't have had this problem unless, you know, I mean, the sagging comes from that they didn't tamper it right, and they put the pipe in, and then the pipe settled and sagged.
Right.
So,
So I can't
Yeah,
advise either way.
Why can't we see a
Without
picture of-
looking at the video, I can't advise either way.
Yeah, why can't we look at
They
the
have
video?
pictures of it.
we need more information.
Yeah, but pictures
Yeah.
is not the video.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he's got, they have a video of it, I'm sure of it.
Well, we should get it.
Charlie told us they did. They
I
were-
thought they did say yes.
Yeah, they said they had a video of it.
Well,
Well, yeah, but we need to see the video of that.
And, yeah, Charlie was the one that told us that.
We need to look at that.
Like
Like
she
the-
said, the
We
pictures
can't
say-
run, we can't run the numbers till tomorrow, so, just so we have a bearing of what.
I mean, I'd like Terry to look at the video.
Yes, so would
I
I,
said he'd know more about it.
yeah.
I'm more than willing to look at this.
Right.
Well, let's see if we can get it. I'm not comfortable, personally, mostly for the
I mean,
fiscal
if it
year.
is a straight pipe and just cracked and stuff like that, the lining will work. Because then you're getting rid of all the, what you're doing is you're getting rid of all the edges that anything can catch.
That's anything, that's where it's got one spot where it catches.
Well, I think we need to
And
see,
it's right
have you
underneath
look
the
at the
concrete.
video.
I've actually done this at a few facilities and it's worked out well with stuff flaking off or even stuff that was hanging where it actually, this stuff expands and pushes up
Yeah.
and gets so hard that it actually created more room for us.
Well, there's one spot where it catches in the pipe all the time. It's right dead
I
underneath.
thought they had,
Well, did
didn't
you
they
see
have
the
that
video?
picture?
Did you see the
That's
camera
what
shots?
they told us,
It's probably one they submitted
Why do
before,
we
but I
need
don't
to
have
see
it right
it?
here.
Where did you say it was? In the,
I thought
right
they did.
underneath the concrete.
In the middle, it's in the middle.
No, it's
Truck
right
base.
Yeah, where it runs out the
It's
truck.
in the middle of the truck base.
so why don't we just cut out that spot?
I think that they have.
Once you start once you start cutting into concrete,
And it's
and then,
some,
you're cobbing it together.
Yeah, well,
Okay,
that's
and
true.
then you're just gonna create more problems, and then you're gonna start chasing your tails,
yeah.
which will end up costing you 5 times as much.
I agree.
You can do that, but you would have to reline the whole pipe.
Yes. So you're still gonna have that added expense
Right,
of cutting
fix it one time
concrete,
and had it.
putting in a high-grade concrete back in there, or high tensile straight concrete, and
Okay, can we?
Yeah, I make a motion to table the approval on the estimate for underground pipe company for cleaning, jetting, flushing, and line installation for the fire department sewer line, which is a total cost of $24,900 until we understand budget numbers and operational efficiencies and what the best thing to do is.
And I'd like to add to have Jerry
Yeah, I'll second that.
All right, sounds good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alright.
So Peter or Bob, can you get with Charlie and get the video?
Yeah, we'll check.
All right, thank you.
I know we talked about it.
I'll get with Rob.
Yeah,
I'll call him.
I saw the pictures, but I don't know.
I think the pictures are better than video, I think that's how they got it. I mean, how else would they get pictures of the inside?
All right, general audit, need a motion.
I'll make a
Got
mo-
one more.
Oh, street department, sorry,
Street Department Truck Fest.
sorry,
I've been waiting
I
all
can't,
day for
I
it,
can't read
go
my
right
own
by it.
writing. This is to replace the truck bed with a flatbed. Need a motion.
I'll make a motion to, replace the Street Department truck bed.
I'll second.
Does anybody have questions? I mean, I know what
Yeah,
it's.
what are you guys doing?
Oh, so, one bed got, Deagle,
Which truck is it? Let's start there, Scott.
it's,
It's the 17 pickup with the aluminum box.
do you have that picture?
It's the only village truck that's owned in our department.
Right. So that they wanna take that off and put a flat on it because of the, and you can tell them why, because we had an accident and then the insurance we got our insurance check for it. So the options are to repair it or take the money which covers this and buy the flat, then they'll put it on, and then they wanna put the salt machines up on there because what's happening is the salt is building up inside the truck, they can't properly wash them out. And
And
so
that's
this,
a lot easier
yeah.
now.
So this is one of your salt trucks?
Yeah, it's one I drive. Basically, we put the flatbed on it for the salt spreader majority, but also if we gotta go get a pallet or something, the pipes, we can strap them right onto it. It would make it a lot easier.
Who would, what
Who would
company is
install it?
putting the plant on it?
They're putting it on, they
The
just want.
county highway department,
Yeah,
their maintenance crew is gonna help us set it on.
Yeah, it's actually we're saving money because
Okay, what's the truck again?
it's 2,000 less than,
It's 2017. It's that red one.
Streets? They don't have one.
Is it B and G on there, or is it streets, is it streets one? It's a streets one, yeah.
yeah,
It's on.
It's one Scott drives all the time.
Yeah.
yeah.
Plates surrendered.
Look at you with your list,
Still working on it.
Got a 2017 police.
still trying to find it.
I don't,
Anyway.
Is it gonna be metal with diamond plate, or is it gonna be wood, or?
No, it's metal with diamond plate. It's factory all.
Okay.
It'll be shipped here for free. I talked to Donnie with the county mechanic said they'd help us take the other box off and put that on and everything.
Okay, so that answers the question. When I asked who's making this, they're not making it, they're
No,
just
it's-
installing,
yeah.
they're ordering a
They're helping.
factory direct.
It's
Right.
factory
Okay.
direct.
Right.
It's right here, if you want to see.
Yeah,
it.
we haven't
Yeah.
seen it.
Well, I don't know if it's the exact example, but it's the idea. This is a good opportunity, because it's an idea they wanted to do, and then in light of the fact that we have that money, rather than fix it, we just change it over.
We're actually saving money.
It will be easier to keep going.
All right, any other questions for Scott? Are you good, Peter?
I can't find it. The truck doesn't exist. Is it a 2017 Ford F-350?
Yes.
It's crossed out. Why we got it crossed out?
I don't know why you crossed it out.
You cross it.
I didn't cross it out. Somebody crossed it out. I didn't cross it out.
It's the only village truck the street department
Oh,
owns.
Is it hand crossed out, or is it like a computer line?
A computer line.
I'm sorry.
One FTR F3B67HEE28168.
You know the VIN number?
I don't know that number.
That's the only other, that's the only other 2017. The other one was
Is it
a,
a 19 maybe?
so we got an International 19.
No.
No, that's not it.
So the other one was 2017. We surrendered the plates on that one.
That's old.
That was a 550.
Those are the police.
Right here's streets.
I think
See, they
your,
got it marked
I don't
streets.
think your list is
I would
right.
also question if that's current, considering the updates that, like, I'm still working on it, Pete.
Holy jumping.
So Scott, when you price these out, that's steel, or
That is steel.
did you price out other ones?
I didn't know.
Especially if you put the solder.
Aluminum, and aluminum was twice the money.
Oh, yeah. It's gonna, you better order it
Well,
fast.
how much is it? So we're approving something, what's the price then?
I've got the sheet.
Well, that one, Scott, you'd have to you have to look at it again, but, because that one, I think that was just different ones. I think it was circled on there, I can't remember.
Yeah, we circled the one, it's a CM, I'm pretty sure.
I think it was 38 something. Was it down in the corner?
So we're approving $3,800? And what did we get from insurance?
4,600.
4,600.
3865.50. Doesn't that bad.
Just double check with them, Scott, because when you order those, they don't come with the lights, some of them do, and
Yeah.
other arterial packages to match up to your suspensions.
If it gets approved, I was gonna have Brian from the head of the county go over it with the measurements and everything on me, so when we ordered it, it was ready, so when it got there, it fit right in.
So how come we're going with that expensive one when this 3,200?
Because the wrong one's like 34.
Peter, inexpensive isn't always the best.
I think those are just estimates anyways.
Yeah, we gotta get the firm quote, but it's right, they're right around that.
So I would say not to exceed is 4,600.
29.
Yeah, don't exceed 46,000.
So right there's the
That would be
2019
fancy
Ford
lights.
Oh, there you go.
F-350. It's a 2019.
I would say not to exceed.
Found it.
Found it.
Excellent.
2019.
It's a 19.
That's a Ford 350. F-350? Got it. My work's done here.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
We need to,
Oops, sorry.
we have to revise the motion to not to
Not to
exceed
exceed.
4,600.
Did I make the motion?
Margaret,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so I make a motion to approve the street department, the purchase of a street department truck bed not to exceed 4,200?
46.
4,600.
Okay. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No opposed, carried. Thank you. Now we're on to the general audit. A little bit more than last meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the general audit dated March 17th, 2025, for the total amount of $777.94.
Discussion. All in favor?
Why does it always come out sideways?
Oh, it's
Because it scans that way and I can't do it.
It scans
It's a
to the-
landscape, so I can't
it's the way it comes out of the
force
system.
it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. All right, couple of board concerns, new business, just to alert the public that Ken Barber has retired, effective yesterday, March 17, 2025. And then, we put on here, Peter, you had questions, so the board approved Terry's team going to the Rural Water Association training in May, and there was some churn afterwards, so I brought it back up here. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, so, how, are we legally liable for not having a licensed operator at the plant?
Well, first off, this is common practice, because you guys do it in the water plant all the time.
That doesn't mean it's right, though.
Megan and Wade do all the time, you do it in every other department, but we'll leave it at that. First off, every operator in that plant works under my license, okay, not their license, mine. we have actually 4 years to get our hours. To give you a case in point, we can't get just the hours that we need. If you're a 2A operator, you need 40 hours. You can't get your 40 hours, just 40. You have to get more because you don't know what the DEC is going to disqualify. Another case in point is like last week. Last week? Or this week? No, last week. We went on the U-Dig course. Give you an idea of how this works. 4 hours worth of training. The DEC only accepts an hour and a half of that for training. So we waste 4 hours to get an hour and a half. And if we go on a course, you know, I can send them to Cortland, I can send them to here. They're gonna go spend an entire day there. It's gonna cost me overtime for them to get 4 hours worth of training. And it's gonna cost me money, on top of that, paying courses. So we have to, bunch up and go to these. Like Brad needs 40. Once they get, I'm gonna say Brad McCallum. Owen will, he's not in the mix yet. He's going in April to get his 2A, to take the exam for the 2A. He's already got most of his time in. He's taken all the courses, he's surpassed on all the courses. I mean, I don't know if you've seen his scores up in Buffalo when he went to all the courses. So I'm not gonna put a guy in the plant, number one, to risk my license. Because it's my license on the line, not anybody else's. If I wasn't comfortable with him being in that plant, ain't no way I would leave him in the plant alone. But he's handled the plant alone on weekends when Brett was on. So,
Yeah, I don't think that we're questioning your authority or your team or any of that. I mean, Mayor Ryan and I had a discussion, I think I emailed you about this. It's more about, you know, what are the DEC requirements? I understand the whole thing about it's your license, but you're also 2.5 hours away. When he's here on the weekend, you're here most of the time. Somebody's here. The other part that the board doesn't know is that he's sitting for his license
yeah,
before this happens, which we didn't have that piece of information before.
What do you mean by sitting for?
he has to go and take the DEC exam.
So he could have his 2A by the time
Well,
that,
he'll have his 2A.
yeah, so the training's in May, so
Okay, so he's just,
it's,
So he will be
we
licensed.
didn't have that information before.
okay, gotcha.
And when it comes down to it with the DEC, it is really, in their eyes, it is up to me to decide whether the person is competent to be in the plant alone. And they are gonna hold me liable for if he isn't competent, which he is.
So the DEC gives you the permission, the authority to make that decision?
Because I'm the chief operator, and they all work under my license.
And I understand that ultimately it's Mayor Ryan and my responsibility to make
that's
sure
right.
that we're comfortable.
That's right.
And I did not have that piece of information, neither did the board, that Owen was gonna sit for his license in April. I mean,
Yeah, that's what we said.
and we're not questioning your team's ability whatsoever. It's just, I'm not gonna put the village at risk, just like you're not gonna put your license at risk.
No, and I think that's where I will, I won't paraphrase, but that's where, like, even Owen himself is saying, like, you know, what the hell's wrong with him? I can operate this plant. I mean, if he didn't have the confidence in it, and I have the confidence in him.
Yep, I don't think
It's
anybody's
been-
questioning
But
that.
by the
It's
time you
not
go to the-
about the permits, it's about our liability and the taxpayers' liability. Because at the end of the day, if something happens, we're gonna get assessed the fines. You're not gonna pay them, we are.
I will be fine too.
But we have to pay them.
But what,
It's
correct
our
me if I'm
liability.
wrong, but I'm hearing Owen will be licensed by the time
Yes.
That's correct.
they go.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
goes, actually, he goes next month.
Right.
We're doing the paperwork up now, because we have to get the paperwork, I have to sign the paperwork for him to be able to, sit for the exam. So he's working on getting all his paperwork, all his training requirements and everything in, and that has to be sent with the fees, to New York, WEL, New York World, what, it's then they'll send him, okay, yes, they have to give him permission, and then he will set up in Corning to go and sit for the exam.
In
So
April,
once we
you
get
said,
the
Terry?
paperwork in this week, within probably a week or so, 2 weeks, he will have permission from NIWEA to go and sit for the exam.
Yeah, so we didn't, when we first review it, I mean,
We didn't
in
know.
hindsight, we should have tabled it because there's too many questions afterwards. And
Well, I think if
Terry
they would
answered
have
them.
asked, they would have asked me the questions,
Yeah,
or even if somebody would have stopped to the plant or sent me an email, like when you sent the email and I responded back,
yeah,
and, Dean is available to be in the plant, his guys are available to be in the plant, so it's like we're not putting anybody, we're trying to cover all bases. Dean knows just as much about that plant as, he may not have
he doesn't have a license though, right?
he doesn't have the license, you're
Right.
right. Yeah,
That'd be like me going down.
I don't think they'll allow.
I'm being facetious.
I know you would.
No pun intended.
Well, I think it's not a question, and I agree with Steve, that it's not a question of capabilities, it's a question of liabilities. And it doesn't matter whether you feel comfortable with it or not, it's the liability part of it, and, we always hear, well, that's how we did it before, well, that's not how we're doing it anymore. It's gotta be done the right way, and we've gotta make sure we're covered. Now, if this guy gets his license, and
Right.
keep my fingers crossed, he gets his license,
Then
I'm
covered.
okay with it. But if he doesn't,
And by the time he gets his license, to get the other guy registered, it's too late.
then that's another dilemma.
And what you don't understand, or not, I don't mean it in that way, is we are very limited to what we can go. So you're putting a guy a year behind in getting his training. Now, you only get 15 hours at rural water, or at the conference. That's all we get, 15 hours for 3 days. I need 80 hours of training. Okay, I'm struggling. I have 41 hours and I still need 40 hours worth of training, a little more than 40 hours worth of training. In 2 years, in less than 2 years. So I've got to figure, probably go to WebTech or something like that to get training for me. Brad's got 2 years to get his 40 hours in. There's just not that,
Does he have any yet?
I think he's got 10.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And it goes up when you get your level 3, you go from 40 hours to 60 hours. So this is gonna be raising its head every year. We're gonna be sending 3 guys every year because that's, unless we can find some other bigger events other than WebTech. Like I wasn't prepared this year, like that one you sent me, that would have probably got me 12, 15 hours worth of training. But you see where I had to go to do it. I had to go, I forget what state it was in.
Atlanta.
So I would have to go to so it's not, we all are struggling with this, not just you guys, I'm talking everybody, because of the requirements that are put on us as operators to get hours worth of training.
Well, Terry, I'll come down and meet with you with Pete, we're the liaisons for your department. And
I would appreciate it.
Yeah, I have a list of stuff, I talked with Carolyn, she'd love to talk with you from NIWEA.
Okay.
There's a whole list of stuff, there's even some stuff you guys can do online. Because you're right, you have to get 40, 60, and 80 in the department, so. The stuff's out there, and sometimes we're gonna have to send you guys in other departments to get trained to protect the village from liabilities, so. But there are events that you can go to that are, there's a central district that you guys can hit that has events going on, right in Webster and Syracuse.
Yes, you do, you're right, and most of those events are like 4 hours here, 4 hours there.
Understood.
I understand that, but I can't see sending a guy to get 4 hours worth of training, pay overtime, and then the cost of those, if I gotta do this, or if we gotta do this, then, number one, it's gonna cost a fortune in overtime,
Well, I think the math you just walked through, we might have to do that for you, because if you're down to 2 years left, then there's some events you're gonna have to go to, just so you guys are continuing your certification, but there's also online stuff, so. But we'll come down, let's go through it.
All right, good. STC workshop, get your application into Jen. That's the coordinator,
Is this the Corning one? I keep getting
Yeah,
confused.
that's the,
June 5th.
I can't go to that one.
There's something there that, I don't see that I need.
just gotta get
That's
in
when according
by
to,
March,
this,
end
you
of
know what,
March.
I'm gonna tell you something. Last year, the session that they had on short-term rental was really good.
Yeah, there's a lot, Dennis is
I mean,
going,
It just going to, cause isn't it free?
no, it's $75.
But for, I'll tell you, that short-term rental one was good last year,
Yeah,
really good.
I signed up.
There is one in
Even if
there
that's
for
the
free.
only one you go to, you know?
Might wanna give it to Scott.
I gave it to everybody, I put it in all their boxes,
Planning board, I know Tom signed up.
all the planning board and all the zoning got it, it's in their emails, I
Okay.
think 2 or 3 of them have signed up.
Yeah.
I know Tom did, and,
Good, okay. Couple other things real quick. Boardroom security, so I've talked to Sergeant Mosier about having a dedicated part-time officer here. They will wand individuals coming to the boardroom. I want to make sure that the board is safe and secure. I wanted some input. If you'd like to have input, I'd love it. You know,
Already gave
typically,
mine, I think it's great what you're thinking of.
yeah, so I
Yeah,
typically,
I'm
you know,
all for it.
Ethan's here or one of his full-time officers, but they get called out, they gotta go. And so that kind of leaves us, because we don't have a security system in the building that, like the county does. I did talk to the county, they do have an officer at all their meetings. We typically have a police officer in the court. They're wanded there as well, right, Ethan?
Yes.
So the idea is that we would have a dedicated officer for our meetings and, you know, in the hopes of, that you never need them.
Get her done,
How's that?
get her done.
All right, thank you. The, only other thing I had was Stephen and Dennis, I need you to work on that vendor law.
I have,
Okay, because we've got a busy summer coming.
yep,
There's nothing in that vendor law about tent and codes inspecting tents, and you know what happens, and so we've got, we've gotta get that back to the board, so I recommend we put a fee schedule in there, because we've gotta cover this time, especially, NASCAR weekend, I think, you know, that's one example, but we wanna also be consistent with, as you know, when we're doing these events,
Yeah.
all of a sudden, you've got all these pop-up vendors with propane tanks on the back, and we don't know whether they have insurance or not, and it's just kinda all over the
Yeah,
place,
you
so.
don't know
It just-
where they've come from, you don't know if
Yeah.
they've been inspected by a board of health somewhere.
Right,
yep,
Usually if they have something from another county, we can accept the other county's, board of health inspection, for those vendor trucks. But it's the tents that are really the scary part, because
yeah,
you see all the ones that they put downtown here, and they're all beat up, and their fire protection, material is kind of, not really there. And it is in the fire code book, that all tents of a certain size and canopies of a certain size shall be permitted.
yeah, so that's, I wanna get that in front of the board sooner than later, because my next step, once we get it, is to send a letter to all the business owners and, notify, you know, that if they're gonna set up, like, not to pick on Colonial, but that's a lot where you see it quite often. You know, I had a couple vendors come in, I think Grand Prix, and, there was no way the Department of Health, I mean, it was, and we had nothing to back it down, so, I really appreciate your work on that. This summer
Just
will be-
making it apparent, like if you, just the cost of it, the stuff you're on, the take for,
Yeah,
cover.
right.
Because we, as a village, I think at times cover too much stuff and don't get reimbursed.
Yep.
For example, Ethan's budget or Stacy's, it's, you've
Well,
got to
and
be able to recoup those dollars.
The good thing about promotions is they do that grunt work for us, but it's the pop-up ones where, you know, the private owners think that it's okay just to have whoever sign, you know, set up their food truck with no check and balances there. We have one of those tanks explode and then, you know, we're gonna be in trouble, so,
Nowhere does it say that, you know, because you're on private property, you're okay.
right. Exactly,
You're within the municipality.
yeah,
Doesn't matter if you're on private property or not.
yeah. Other board concerns?
Ethan, I read your background investigation. Nice job that you guys built a Bible for each one of your.
Yeah, I started that a few years
I did
back.
spend some time and I read through it, so.
I started that a few years back. We've actually done them for all of them. I just have not included them as part of the voting.
And I know you came around, I just didn't have time to read it yet, but I finally read it and that's good.
Yeah, I think I would actually recommend that we don't put it in the packet because, you know, when you're talking about someone's reference check, there could be, you know, negative, you know, typically when we do a reference, you know, it's not out in the public, it's,
Oh, so those go to the public stuff.
yeah, it's, you know, it's great that you do it, but, we also wanna be protective of.
Yeah, I've never included one in that before. I can just give you guys copies of when we do them prior to the voting. but-
That's great.
Good, Steve?
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't entered into the public record
Are we?
anyway.
I wasn't here, that's
Doing
what,
the-
That was just an,
you guys just had a
that was like
side
an
motion.
addendum, yeah.
Yeah, he forgot.
Wasn't
to-
an
Right, yeah,
Okay.
okay.
That wasn't anything published.
It was just for
Yeah,
our,
you guys
our
just-
consumption, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna,
So do
need
it
a
that
mo-
way again, then we're saying?
Yeah, but on the side, just give it to the board.
Right,
Yeah,
just,
Yeah, it's not,
it's just like I did though.
yeah, because if they
right,
came to me, I
it's
wouldn't.
not
put it
public
in there.
record, it's just for us to,
Gotcha.
yeah.
I'm not-
I do have an executive employee issue that I would need a motion to move to executive, please.
Make a motion to move to executive session.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hey,
Have a good evening, everybody.
No opposed?
You
Carried.
guys too.
Thank you all.
Terry.
Michelle.
Why is he chasing Terry down? We can go into executive.
He just wants to assess something, so we will talk. So anyway, while we're kind of going into executive. Lisa, what's, oh, Fred.
No.